Oh, you can see it?
Yeah. Got a valve job.
Hey guys, it's Bill. Welcome to Flat Broke Garage. If you're new, thanks for checking me out. I hope you stick around. If you're a regular, I really do appreciate it, guys. I do. And if you're a subscriber, you're the best. Seriously, in this dog-eat-dog world of these huge YouTube car, will it run, make it to wherever thingies, you're here watching me, and I appreciate it. I hope you stick around. This is part 2 of the budget Cleveland build for a couple of cars. The blue Torino you see behind me, this will be a temporary engine, and eventually for my junk GT, a yellow 71 GT fastback Torino. That is a 70. This is 70 date code engine. Original engine for that is out being built by my buddy Eric at J&B Performance. So we need a surrogate engine in the meantime because I want to drive this car. So let me bring you up to speed. Richard and Christina over at What the Rust found this thing on Facebook Marketplace up north of Nashville, far away from where I live. But he was nice enough to run out there, pick this thing up, check it out for me, pay for it, bring it back to his place, and him and Christina held on to it till me and my wife could get over and pick it up. We brought it back. It appeared to be pretty good in the photos. The heads were off. It looked like somebody had been rebuilding it. It came with a set of fresh heads, which turned out to be modified heads, not Cleveland heads, but that's not the worst thing in the world. Basically, 351-400 modified heads are more or less 2-barrel Cleveland heads. So not a big deal. The key is I want to know how bad everything else is. So we've pulled this engine down in the previous video. I'll put a link to it here or in the description below or at the end of the video. We found out the block itself wasn't that bad. The engine isn't really too dirty. There is no real ridge in the cylinders. And the crank looked pretty good. The bearings were pretty worn, but nothing destructive. The crank still looked good. The bearing and the cam still look good. So what I'm going to do is we're going to pack up the junk before we get too deeply involved into this. I'm going to run it back over to my buddy Eric, who has the machine shop, and I want him to kind of get the official okie dokie from him on the crank, cam, and heads, because if we need all that, then we may as well not pursue this much more or really just cobble it together. So we're going to pack up, head over to see Eric, see what he's got to say, and if everything checks out, we're going to come back, finish cleaning this block out, and start reassembly. We're just going to do bearings, rings. The cylinders look pretty good. Going to use the same cam, probably get some new lifters, and we'll see what he says about the head. Let's head over to my buddy Eric's place and see what he's got to say. Fingers crossed. I think this stuff looks savable. We'll see what he says. He's the pro. Another thing they were going to do was put in a new set of cam bearings. Seeing so I don't have the tools or really the knowledge to do it, figured I'd let Eric show me how to get it done. So simple. That's the bad one. I think that's the real bad one. Let me see. It looked way weird. One of these is chunks are missing out of it.
Might have been the first.
that spins pretty good.
Should spin better than that.
It should.
You should be able to turn it by hand, but one of the bearings is a little tight, but it'll be fine.
You gotta remember who's putting it together, me. There's gonna be way more issues than a little snug bearing.
Trying to get a little witness mark to see if I can go in there and just shave it. You know?
Mm-hmm. Sure, everybody say, yeah, put in cam bearings. You just tap them in. Well, no, there's all of this after the tapping in.
Well, you gotta remember, there's always a conflict with theory and reality.
Yeah.
Okay? In theory, yeah, it should work.
Yeah. And there's the reality
is, you're working with a 50, 60-year-old block. You could have a little twist in it.
Yeah.
The bearings aren't made absolutely right. The guy putting them in may not know what he's doing. You know, there's a lot of realities you got to deal with. Yeah, right there.
Oh, you can see it?
Mark. Yeah.
It's just a little rub mark.
Yeah.
Give it. Oh yeah. Been done.
I don't think it has seat inserts.
No?
No, it's on iron.
Is it?
Yeah, it's on iron. No insert.
Okay. And what's the dicum for?
Just so you could see.
Oh, okay.
It's just, dicum is just a die.
Okay.
That's all it is.
It's great in the title, dicum.
Yeah. Dicam. See. Good.
I'm good?
Good. You got see.
Yay! I didn't lose.
Oh, I don't know why they put the die on there after they cut the seat.
That's some of the things why I want you to look at stuff, you know?
Yeah, I mean, usually what you do is you put the die on there and then you do a quick lap to see where.
To look for your witness marks.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't do that on this, which is, I thought was odd. Some people think that the die, it just
Makes it look professional.
Exactly.
That way they can charge more. Look, we put blue dye on it.
I've seen guys paint the entire deck before they go over to the machine to mill it.
Really?
I don't know why. You can clearly see where the cutter's hitting and where it's not. And a lot of that is internet. You guys.
Me, the horrible internet people.
You guys.
Hear that, horrible internet people?
You got a valve job.
Yay.
I have no idea why they put the the dye on it after the fact.
That's weird. Now, what would these normally be? Yeah,
60.
60.
$64, $63.
So they're good enough.
Yeah. 50.
Okay. 50's a little light.
A little light, but it's
It,
just don't do
Don't-
burnout.
no 7,500.
No,
No. They'll be floating.
won't take much.
No.
No, but that'll
That'll help with that cam with the extra lift. And we're back from my buddy Eric's. We got the camshaft is in the box. I got seals, I got freeze plugs, cam plug, lifters, I got tons of parts. We got our crank here all polished up, the cam's polished up. I got a set of rings. We're gonna put some rings in. I got the original 2-barrel intake off of that car. I got another one my buddy Charlie gave me. Somebody gave me these. These are 302 manifolds. Not gonna work, but it was very nice of them to donate some intakes. We'll use those at a later date. So according to my buddy Eric, it isn't just rebuilding an engine, it's cleaning the engine. And Cleveland's have a really bad oiling system. You know, I don't know, we have to address it. Now, they have this is an early Cleveland. It has 2 oil returns. It's got one here and one here that runs all the way down into the pan. And then I think it runs crossways there. We'll have to take a look. I got a scope. We're gonna scope it out. We're gonna clean all these oil ports out. There's 2 plugs in back here that come out where the oil passages are, so we can run brushes in there, get all that cleaned up. Because he said, if the engine ain't clean, it ain't no good. You're going through all this, might as well clean it up. Not a performance build, but I want it to last a little bit, and everything that I can do to help that really doesn't cost a lot of money is going to help. So I'm going to pull those plugs. I have a new set. Like, oh, here, they came with the freeze plugs. So there's the new plugs for the block and everything there. And I guess that's the first part. We'll clean that out and go from there. So first thing I want to do is get these freeze plugs knocked out. I just took one and tapped it and it basically crunched and fell out. So not a good sight. These other freeze plugs, they don't look horrible, but I mean, we're here right now. Oh, see that one looks bad. So we're going to go with that, clean those out, roll it over and pull these ports out. All right, I got the engine flipped over. Now this block is pretty clean. Somebody was in the process of trying to rebuild it. And like I said, I got it as a rotating assembly. Cylinders, there's no real ridge at all. They still have hash marks in them. We got to do a couple things. First off, this is the water outlet. These are pressed in. These are a son of a gun to get in and out. I don't know, that one's not horrible, but... And we got these 2 little plugs back here. Those are for the oil ports. I don't know if you can see them. They're just hex plugs. Pull those out and clean those ports out. And the same thing with these oil returns back here. We're gonna see how gooey that is. And just check all the passages out. I got a little cameras. We can take a peek inside. So let's go from there. Get this apart. Well, for starters, see how easy these plugs come out. Of course, my engine stands right almost in the way. Yeah, they're really tight. We're gonna need a bigger boat. Let me see if an impact will work on this. All right, next size impact. We got the 1/2 inch impact with the 3/8 drive because it's too tight to fit the 1/2 inch in. So let's see. Well, that's discouraging. Breaker bar? If not, heat. Man, those plugs are in there. Off camera, I've been kind of beating on these plugs, and I've tried basically all 4, front 2 and front 2 and back, and they're not budging. Now, I did get a company send me a tool that's supposed to help with this. I'm going to go get it and try it. If that doesn't work, we're going to go to the Blue Ridge. Luckily, I do have a torch. I got to try new tools. They sent it to me. Let me go grab it, and we'll see if it's going to work. So this is what I got. I've had it a while. I've never used it. It's a KkSevens KOS02 1600 magnetic induction heater kit gun thing. This company sent me this a while ago, and honestly, I forgot I even have it. What it does is it's got like a branding iron on the end of it, and it's for like going over like a lug nut or something, if it fits over it, to heat it up red hot without an open flame. I don't know if it'll work for recessed stuff, but I'm willing to try it, you know? I mean, if they're still watching, you know, we'll kind of do a review on the thing, but I've had it so long, I think they kind of written me off. But, yeah, I mean, there's the stats on it. And like I said, really cool of them to send it to me. I don't use this stuff all the time, but in this situation, this might work. All right, let me open it up. Okay, so here's evidence I'm not making this up. Like hornets had built nests inside this thing. It was sitting inside my shop. I put it somewhere, I forgot. But yeah, this isn't like one of those stupid scam let's place it ads. This thing has hornet's nests in it, so let's see what the thingy is. All these are like cloth. All right, so this is a heat element. Different size diameter heat thingies. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look at instructions. And I guess you just put whatever fits around that, pull the trigger and heat it up. So I'm curious to see if this works. Let's give it a shot. Alright, so I plugged it in. Started making a weird vacuum sound. Of course, I still haven't really totally read the instructions. But from what I understand, we just place it here, hit the go, and it'll glow. It's not get electrocuted. And it's got a little light that went on. Alright, so it is getting hot. You know, when you're used to an oxyacetylene torch, it's like 3,000 degrees right now. Starting to stink. Oh look, it's starting to glow. Okay, things are happening. Let's see. Okay, it's the first time I've turned this on. So now it's starting to glow red. There it goes. So this is kind of cool. And the nice thing about it is there is no open flame. I'm not setting fire to something. Let's say you're working in the weeds or something like that where, you know, fire hazard is up there. Alright, well, it's been about 30 seconds and it's getting angry. It's really getting hot now. So I got smoke coming off the oil. Let's give this a shot and see what happens. Look at that. Dude, the thing worked. Okay, that's pretty cool. And it's cheaper than oxygen and acetylene. So I hit this with a 1/2 inch Milwaukee impact, nothing. Put a breaker bar on it, nothing. This is a 3/8 ratchet. So success for the KkSevens gunny thing. That's pretty cool. Who would have thought it? The thing works. Pretty impressive. Okay, well, now that worked, I'm gonna pull the rest of these out, and I'll put a link to this thing in the description of this video. It's a, let me show you again. Wow, way better than a torch. There it is. KkSevens KS02 1600. Like I said, dude, they did send this to me, and I kind of poo-pooed it. I'm being honest. So this is to the KkSevens people, dude. You got a cool thing here. So let me see if it gets the rest of these out, and I'll be back. I got all the galley plugs loose, and that magnetic heat gun thing worked really good. I did notice something, and I had to do a little research on this, because I'm going to say right now, total disclaimer, I am not an engine builder, nor will I ever be one. I am great at watching YouTube and listening to other people that know how to build engines. Now, I noticed when I pulled these galley plugs out, there's these galley plugs in back. See these? These are just pipe thread, 3/8 pipe thread, just flat plugs. Get them at any Home Depot or something. But if you come up to the front of the block, it has these little beveled, I don't even know if you can see it in there, but these plugs are beveled, okay? And I thought to myself, there's a reason they beveled these plugs. Now, like I said, I am not an engine builder, but I know plenty of guys that are. So they told me the reason for that is the oil passage for up in front, there's another port that circulates your oil. And that bevel is to allow the oil to get to that other oil passage. And if you put the square plug in there, it'll cut that oil passage off, and you just cooked your engine. Now, I just ordered a complete set of 351 Cleveland Speedmaster freeze plugs, cam plug, and oil galley plugs. If you look, not a single one of those plugs has a taper to it. There's the part number, 351C, 400 modified, whatever. But those plugs, I think if you put them in, you're gonna cook your engine. I don't know. You guys put it down there in the comments if built these things before. But that's a bunch of BS right there. According to any engine builders, don't throw these away. These are imperative to the engine not going poof. All right, well, now we've had one letdown. At least the heat gun worked. Let's get a camera inside these oil passages. I just want to see how nasty they are. The engine itself was pretty clean. So let's see what the oil passages are like. So after my total failure of trying to film the inside of those oil galleys, you could see they're full of oil, nasty oil. So I took the drive up to the Harbier Freight, and I bought some stuff. I got some of these like pipe cleaner brushes of different sizes, and some other brushes, and some brake cleaner. And we're just gonna start cleaning out all these passages. I don't know, you know, like I said, I'm really not rebuilding this engine correctly, but it's here, it's this far apart. I might as well try and clean it, giving it a helping hand as much as we can. So we're going to try and shove a brush through every port we can find, blow some brake cleaner in it, get this thing cleaned up, those caps back in, saving those tapered caps, and we'll start reassembly, I guess. So while using these little pipe cleaners, they're a pain. They're hard on the fingers to get in and out. So I says to myself, there's got to be another way to do this. So we put one on a drill. Let me tell you what, this is the way to go. That's how they clean the oil passages right there. Better living through electronics. All right, I got to go from the back side because this isn't long enough to go all the way through, but sweet. I like this idea. Has anybody ever done this? I'm sure a million people have. This is cool. All right, I'll finish it up. I'll be back. All right, we went with the smaller brush for cleaning the ports here. Give it a little shot of goo. Clean it out. Now I know those go all the way through, but it's not bending. But we're getting part of it. We'll stick the camera back in and see what we got. I think it's going to be a lot cleaner. I mean, look at the debris. That black gooey crap that came out of that thing. So it had to help some. I was actually shocked how well that cleaner and brush worked. These passages look brand new. As you get a little further down, you could see I maybe missed a little bit right there, but I don't think that's going to make any difference. I don't even know if cleaning them made that much of a difference, but like I said, made me feel better, things apart, so did what I could do. So now all I'm doing is just kind of blowing out all the oil passages in the crank. I mean, I can get a brush in there too, kind of clean them out. Ow. But yeah, they're full of goo. See that? So I'm going to put this on the drill and try and clean some more of these ports out. Look at a gunk on there. Not sure how much this really helps, but at least it makes me feel better knowing that I did the best I can. Well, it's less bad now. So there we go. Crank's clean. So first thing I want to do is get these freeze plugs knocked out. I just took one and tapped it and it basically crunched and fell out. So okay, I got the freeze plugs out. Most of them look good, but if you look very closely, there's a hole in that one right there. And this one, same thing. See the hole? So yeah, I went through the whole freeze plug thing with the Falcarino and the 6-cylinder. I mean, why not? Why not just put freeze plugs in? So they looked okay, but they really weren't. So I'm going with brass, no rust. All right, I guess finish cleaning this block up. I got to wash it with some Dawn dish soap. I think I'm going to take a torch and sweat the oil out of this block. Then we'll wash it with Dawn dish soap. And we're going to get this cleaned up and painted because it's starting to flash rust and can't have that. Now basically this cast iron's porous. So the oil over the years just soaks into it. If I can get this to light. And basically, if you just heat this up, you can sweat that oil out of there. There we go. And you can see it almost come up out of the metal and sweat out. So I'm going to slowly cook this block and get all the zits out of it. And we'll come back and show you the end product. Well, we're going to give this thing the final rinse off with the old Dawn dish soap. Scrub it off one more time. I've brake cleaned it to death. I've heated it up, sweated the oil out of it. But I got one more thing we got to do before I rinse it. And that is to get the rear main seal out of the block. Now these are the original seals, and these are a rope type seal. You can see that. It's just a piece of rope. Now the new ones are the whatever poly whatever rubbery stuff, and these rope gaskets on the main bearing, there's a pin that keeps the rope from spinning, so I have to delete on the pin, I believe, because those pins, like I said, keep these from spinning and really only needed with rope gaskets. Well, there we go. It's all cleaned up, taped up. Now we're going to paint it. Now there's a million different ways to paint a block. I've seen them all. You know, I did wash it, brake clean, heat it up. Then people are like self-etching primer, epoxy paint, Rust-Oleum. I'm just going with engine paint. I'm just going to give it a light tack coat and let that set, and I'm just going to come back and spray bomb it with the rest of the Ford Blue. Alright, well there we go. The engine's painted. We're just going to let it sit here and dry. Then we can bring it in and start doing real engine-y things to it. It's been a couple of days. Kind of let the paint cure up. In the meantime, I've been kind of doing dad things. I've been working on my son's car. He's out of town for a couple of months, so I did dad things, you know. But I give this paint time to cure up, and it's time to start assembly, I guess. We're going to start with some freeze plugs. So I guess first order of business, we get this thing on the side. Let's see. Yeah. It's dry. I do notice too, I got to get the, I don't know what you call it, the stud for the oil filter. See that right there? That's missing too. So that's, I'm finding I'm missing more and more parts to this engine. Also I'm missing the whole belt drive assembly, the balancer, which I did buy, pulleys, brackets, all that kind of nonsense. Those things are expensive. So my buddy, once again, Richard, at What the Rust, said he knows a guy that might have a couple Cleveland engines for sale. And if I can buy that engine for the same price or less than it costs to go out and buy brackets, why not do that? So I'm waiting back to hear from him. And in the meantime, like I said, we'll just start gluing this together and see how far we get. All right, so we got our freeze plug, got a socket to drive it in, and a little bit of the RTV to kind of seal it up and help glue it in. Just center it up here. And ta-da, that's done. So I want to get my bearings for the main. I know I put 351 Cleveland in, and these are main bearings for a 351 Windsor. Not even close to working. I don't know whose fault that was, if it's my fault or somebody grabbing something off a shelf wrong, but we've hit an impasse. So I guess in order to keep moving forward, I ordered all new main bearings. I got to check my rod bearings, but we're going to put those galley plugs back in, and I guess we're going to put some rings on the pistons, clean the pistons up, if I did get the right rings. So next thing I'm going to do is throw these plugs in quick, and we'll jump over to the rings. All right, well, seeing as how my main bearing and putting the crank in thing has kind of left to chat, also, along with the rod bearings. Everything was for a Windsor, not going to work out. But we got rings. I know these rings are right, I checked. Basically, we're gonna have to check ring gap. Now, these rings come, you have 2 main compression rings, an up and a down, and then an oil wiper sweeper ring thing. Most important thing you wanna do is check end gap in your rings. So what you gotta do is you have to put a ring in there, make sure it's square, and measure it. I think it's 18 to 22 thousandths for the gap is good. I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So we're gonna put some rings in, check and see how they gap out, and start getting each piston ready one by one. So we do get our bearings, we'll be able to throw everything together. So kind of here's how it comes. These are your secondary rings or lower rings. I think you can see there's an M for Molly or whatever, but there's an M on one. And the top ring should have a dot or a circle. The camera can focus on that, but there's a little dot there. So that's your top ring, goes in top that way. There we go, here's a top ring. Like I said, I don't know. Where's the dot? It's right there, right in front of my thumb. Probably can't see it. So anyways, you just pop your ring in, like so. And then what you do is you want it square in the bore. So what I have is I have a piston that I took the rings off of and I cleaned the gaps, but I put the oil ring on, so I know it'll stop square. So you put your piston in, and you push it down till that oil ring hits. So now you know the piston is square in the bore, and you pull it out, and right there is your end gap. So let's see, there's 20. 20 is a little loose. There's 22. There you go. 22 snug. So we know that's good to go. But that's how you check your end gap, or at least I check my end gap. So I got the rings out. An important thing to do is clean all your grooves, make sure that's all gunk free. And the first one you put on is your wiper ring or oil ring. Like I said, it's a 3-piece ring. We'll see if we can show you how to do it without catastrophic failure. As I understand, you can put it down there in the comments if I'm wrong, but as I understand, you start with the corrugated piece first, and that goes down there like that. Ta-da. Then your lower ring, it should go on the lower side of this wiper. Well, I tell you what, see these things, they're sharp too. What you want to do, it's kind of hard to see, is you don't want all these gaps to line up. You don't want the gap of this ring to line up with the gap of the corrugated one to line up with the gap of the top one. I have somehow strategically seemed to do that. So I'm going to see if I can unline these 2 rings. There we go. That's there. And then their top ring. You see how the gap is there. I'm going to turn the piston 180 degrees. And we're going to put the gap on the other side of the piston. Pay no attention to the beeping in the background. We've had a lot of rain here, guys. My road is washed out. And they're out there trying to fix what's left of our internet, our power, and our road. So, well, there you have it. There's your oil ring installed. Like I said, you got one gap here, one gap. It went away. Well, there's one there. There's one here. And the oil one is here. All right. So, but they're all staggered, and that's important. We get our bottom ring. Here's our bottom compression ring. It's got the M that goes on top. And same thing, you just snap that down. Give it a little finesse off this one. There we go. That one and our top ring. Once again, the little dot on top. And same thing, stagger your ring gaps. And rinse and repeat 7 more times. That's how I put rings on pistons. Like I said, other people probably do it differently. I have since ripped my thumb open on these things, so they are sharp. Well, they have arrived. I got the bearings, the main bearings at least. I'm waiting on the rod bearings. But from Performance Engine Bearings, Race Series, these were made in, there you go, made in Tasmania, Australia. Now, Australians, they know stuff about Cleveland's. This is kind of like the engine down under, you know, for the Ford people anyways. Holding something else. But anyways, yeah, so we got the Aussie bearings. And we'll start dropping those in. Way better than stuff made in Pakistan or India or China. You know, the tolerance levels aren't, you know, what they should be. So let's start popping these things in. We got to clean all these journals up and start dropping bearings in. We'll get some plastic gauge and see how tight they actually are. Well, take a little brake clean. Get all these surfaces cleaned out. Like I said, everything here just flash rusts because it's so moist. We just had almost a foot of rain in the last week, and it's really humid. So I try and keep everything at least WD-40'd, but still it flashes with the rust. So I'll set these in, then we'll do the other side. And of course, these are directionals. You got your holes in the bottom. These are for the oil passages. There's a little tab, so you can't screw them up. Even I can't screw them up. You just press right in. And last but not least, our thrust bearing. All right, done. Set our crank in. Dang, these things are heavy. Carefully set it in. There we go. Now you don't want any assembly lube or any of that when you're using plastic gauge. You want to put it in dry. You don't want to spin it. So we're going to get the bearings put in the caps, and we'll get our plastic gauge in, tighten them down to specs, and take it out, check it, and see where it's within tolerances. Man, it cranks heavy. So I'm getting the main bearings put in, and you got to use plastic gauge just to check your clearance. You don't have to, but you know, I can take anything I can do to help me. So basically, it's just like a little, I don't even know what it's made of, some kind of wax. And you cut it the width of the journal, well, the journal up here. Put your bearing down, you torque them all down to specs, and then this is your gauge to measure to see how much clearance you have. So I'm going to get this cut, get these set in here. Yeah, about that one. You can see there, you just drop it on. And then you just set your bearing on top and squish away. I'll get all these done. We'll get it tightened down. We'll see what our clearances are. Then we'll get our pistons in. Well, I'm about at the last rear main bearing. And I had mentioned earlier that these had rope seals. I had pulled it out. I don't know if you can see in there, but there's a little metal pin that keeps that rope seal from spinning. The newer rubber and steel O-rings or rear mains, they don't need that. And if you leave that in there, it's going to screw it up and it's going to leak. So basically what you got to do is take a punch. You can see where a pin is there and tap that out. And I'd probably put a little Permatex on the back side of this. But that pin needs to come out for these new style seals. And I just have a real fine, sharp punch. And set it in there and there it goes. It's right. See it? That little sucker there will cost you a world of hurt if you don't remember to remove it. So, like I said, I put a little smooth in there just to seal that off, and glad I remembered to do that. These are things I forget. All right, plastic gauge is in, pin is out, bearings are in. And it gets all these set. We're going to tighten them down to torque specs. I think they're 100 and something pounds, but I'm going to do it in steps, working my way out. 50 pounds, 50 pounds, 70, 70, and up to 100. And we got to pull them all back off and see what our bearings tell us. There's 50. Now we wind her up to 70. All right, there we go. Now we got to pull them off and check our plastic gauge, see how well our bearings are seated. All right, it's going to be kind of hard to see, but if you look right there, just see the line. It's in about the 2 to 3 thousandths range, which is actually a little bit loose. Where is it? Right there. But I'm running a high volume oil pump, so I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. It's just easier to show it on there and not too much reflection on the crank, but I think you can see the line. Here's another view of the, like as you can kind of see a ghost mark there. That's right at 2 thousandths. So good enough for the flat broke budget build. All right. Oh, the crank's heavy. And clean that out one more time. We got our rear main in, and so the rear main, it's like a two-piece steel rubber thing. If you look on one side, it's got like a little flap on it. This part goes towards the inside of the engine. Sits down in here. But what I learned is to leave just a little bit of it sticking up on this end, so when you go to get it, so when you go to put the other half in, it sits down and it's off center from where everything tightens together. So you're creating a dam where the rear main seal bolts in. And I'll put a little dab of RTV on each side of it too. Let's hope the crank's in for the final time. All right, just a little dollop of assembly lube on everything. If some is good, more is better in my opinion, but I could be wrong. While installing these bearings, you'll see the pistons have an arrow on them, which points towards the front of the engine. And on the bottom side, there is like a chamfer here. And that is where the rod rides up against the journal of the crank. Right here. So when you put your bearings in, okay, when you put your bearing in, you see you get a little bit of a chamfer or space right there. And here the bearing's about flush. This is where the two pistons will ride together. And this is where it rides up against the crank. Now, when you get to the bottom side, as you look, you see that mark there, the old witness mark? So there's our new bearing, and you can see the space here, once again, that chamfer. And then this lines up with that. And there's your space for your crank and your flush against the other rod. This would be the number 5 rod, so it'll be going up against the number 1. Now I already put number 1 in because I forgot about cameras and such. And drop number 5 in. We'll just give it a little tappa. There we go. Once again, our chamfered side goes towards the crank. I'll just snug them down a bit, and we'll get the rest of these in. Take my time, pay attention to what I'm doing, and hopefully I don't screw it up. Just snugging them. We'll come back and torque them in a bit. So off camera, I plastic gauge and checked all the bearings for the rods, about 2 thousandths, hit or miss. Torqued them all down to 45 foot-pounds. We're all set there. I put the balancer on here, so I'm able to put a bar on and spin the engine. You know, like that. So, you know, everything turns free, smooth. It's a little snug, but I mean, everything's new. I still have to clean up 2-barrel intake. Now I have the factory 2-barrel Cleveland intake off this car, and I'm just going to put it on here for the time being. Somebody gave me another one, but it's missing doodads and stuff. So I'm just going to stick with this one. I'll get it cleaned up. So along with the intake that I have to clean up, I got to clean up the front cover of the engine, which has the front main. Got to get our cam in. Get our heads ready to go in. Here's the box of stuff that came with this engine. These are the push rods. Oh, and the oil pump drive is in there too, I just noticed. They got a double roller timing chain. There's your rockers, fuel pump, oil pickup. We're missing a bunch of nuts and bolts. I'm missing all the bolts for the front cover, missing all the bolts for the pan. I'm gonna have to take stock in what I need and don't need. So gaskets, here's another oil pump drive. Well guys, it's hot. I've about had it. I usually have a fan on, but when I'm filming I got the fan off because of background noise. Not that really big on building engines. I've done it before, but Been a long time. If you guys see anything that I've done wrong or am doing wrong, put it down there in the comments. Let me know. Like I said, I'm not claiming to be a mechanic or an engine builder, so this is not a tutorial on how to build engines. Trust me. It's just kind of one guy trying to do a budget build and see if it'll make. I'm kind of taking a little bit more care and time than some of these will it run guys, but still, it's a pretty crappy rebuild. If the engine lives, it'll save me a bunch of money. If the engine dies, well, it was a learning moment. So I stand nothing to lose on this. I have, with all the parts, gaskets, and everything, probably sitting about $1,500, including the purchase of the engine. So I'm not upside down on it. The heads are worth that. The next video, I'm going to hope to long block this thing. We'll get a transmission bolted on it. And if we have time, put it in a blue Torino. I really want to do that. My birthday's coming up the end of the month. I'd at least like to have the engine done for that. So we'll see. I have a lot of other things going on, but I appreciate you guys making it all the way to the end, following along. If you like, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you like the Flatbroke Garage merch, you can go to flatbrokegaragetn.com. You can go to Flatbroke Garage on Facebook and message me, or you can email me, Flatbroke Garage, and we got stickers, t-shirts, and such. Thank you so much. We will catch you on the next one. Whew. Can't wait to go inside, hit the AC. We'll see you guys later. Bye.